What's up, YouTubers? My name is Jan Pauk, and today we're going to learn how to play a G major chord. We're going to learn how to strengthen this shape by taking it off of the guitar and putting it back on. And we're going to learn to further strengthen it by moving it around the different frets on the guitar, thus strengthening this chord more and more, getting you ready for chord changes so that you can use a G confidently in a song. So grab your guitar and let's get started. Now you might have seen this chord being played like this with 3 fingers. And this is actually, all over books and all over the internet as an official G chord. I've been playing for 25 years. I hardly ever use this chord. I usually have both of my fingers on the top. I find it much easier, much more practical. It will allow you to leave a finger on as you go to a D chord, as you learn your chord changes. It has many benefits, so we're going to talk about this G with 2 fingers on the top. And so let's go ahead and voice this chord. So we're going to take our pinky finger on the first string, the one closest to the floor, and we're going to go on the 1, 2 on the 3rd fret. And we're going to put it all the way up to the middle bit without going on top. If you go on top, the note doesn't sound very good. If you go too far back on that fret, it won't sound very good. So I'm going to go all the way up to the sweet spot right in front of the metal bit. Then my ring finger will go on the 1, 2 on the 2nd string. And now you might be thinking, wait a minute, I can't get to that sweet spot, my pinky's in the way. That's okay. Anytime you're in the middle of the fret and forward, you're going to be okay. So just do what you can with that ring finger. People with huge fingers play the guitar, so don't worry about it. Now we're going to take our middle finger, and on that same fret, on the 3rd fret, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the 6th string. And then we're finally going to take our index finger and go on 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 5th string on the 2nd fret. Yours will probably not sound that clean just yet. You'll have some notes not ringing out. You can quality control how well you're playing the chord by going like this and plucking each individual string. And again, you'll probably get a bunch of noises when you first do this. It's quite alright, don't worry about it. Do the exercises anyways. Strum your G anyways, even if it sounds like... You'll have to kind of live with that as you first start playing the guitar, and over time your chord will clean up more and more. And for it to really clean up actually takes years. Now let's talk about the thumb. I want your thumb to be on top of your index finger somewhere, comfortably resting on top of the neck, as opposed to, say, having your thumb on the neck down here. This will make it much harder for you to play the chord. It's a much more tense position. My wrist is all bent like that. So don't be afraid to grab the guitar like it was a baseball bat or something. Put your thumb on top and just rest it there comfortably. It doesn't really have to do anything on this chord. Now once you have this chord on there, we're going to try to take the shape that we just made off of the guitar and we're going to put it back on. It's going to kind of look like I'm flicking you off. I'm really not. I'm just taking the shape off. So I'm going to strum it, and then I'm going to get my thumb out of the way, and I'm going to take that off the guitar. I'm going to see, can I hold this shape? And then to test that, I'm going to try to put it back on. And sure, I've been playing for a long time, so my shape is holding. But as you first try this, when you take it off, your fingers will move slightly, and then as you put it on, you might be on some wrong strings. That's why I always want you to strum it when you put it back on, just in case you have one of these, you go, wait a minute, that wasn't the right thing, right? And then you have to re-voice your chord and put all the fingers in the right place. When you recognize the sound, which you will, it's easy to do, you'll go, okay, now let me see if I can take my chord back off and put it back on the guitar. This is something you can do while you watch a movie or hang out. You don't have to obsess about it. It's not a crusade. Just maybe do it 10 or 20 times, right? Take the shape off. Try to hold it as best as you can. Put it back on. Remember to get that thumb over the neck every time you do that. So yeah, you'll have to take it out of the way to get the shape off. But then as you put it back on, put it back somewhere on top of the index. And this is going to help you strengthen that G. Again, all these fingers are touching. It's like you're making a bridge over strings. don't play the G with all your fingers like working separately, so to speak. This shape is very, very hard to hold, every finger floating by themselves in midair. I think the key to playing your chords well is to get all your fingers to connect. They'll remember that. It's like a claw that you teach yourself. It'll strengthen your chord. My index finger touches the middle finger, it touches the ring, and the ring touches the pinky. And by the way, the ring and the pinky work together in this manner on many chords and many shapes on the guitar. It's a good thing to get used to it. Take it off, put it on, do that a good 10-20 times, maybe for 1 or 2 weeks, and you will see a significant difference in the way you play your G chord. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide it around on the guitar. I'm going to strum it once, I'm going to lift the pressure on my chord, and I'm going to slide up to the 8th fret, where my middle finger is on the 8th fret. And that's going to be a C chord, but who cares? We're going to take the pressure back off, and like a train on train tracks, we're going to move up another 2 frets to where my middle finger is on the 10th fret. And we're going to strum that. Now as you first slide this chord around, especially as you come back to the first one, you're probably going to lose your shape. And maybe get a funky chord there, and you'll have to squeeze your fingers back together, maybe rearrange them. Some fingers might end up on the wrong string. And that's the purpose of this exercise, to teach you how to keep your shape as you slide it around. Alright, we lift the pressure, and then our sense of touch tells us that our fingers are still on their strings, and we start sliding. Keep that shape as you slide. If you start sliding every finger by itself, now you have to remake the shape, so don't let that happen. Keep your fingers together as you slide up until you get to your 8th fret, where the middle finger's on the 8th fret. Strum it, and then lift the pressure again, slide up to the 10th fret, put pressure on, and strum that. And then from there we restart. So we take the pressure off, and we slide down. This is the biggest slide. Don't let those fingers come apart. Let them all be together. When you get to the 3rd fret, that's the middle finger on the 3rd fret, put them back on, add your thumb, and strum. So let's turn this into an exercise. I will give you a limited amount of time to change between the 3 places on the neck, so that you progress faster. If you give yourself too much time for something, you end up doing it slower than you would, and you progress slower, in my opinion. So anyway, let's get started. My middle finger is on the 3rd fret right now, and let's give it a strum. 3, 4, and 1, middle to the 8th fret, 3, 4, and 1, 2, middle to the 10th, and 1, 2, middle back to the 3rd, and 1, 2, keep those fingers together, and strum. 1, 2, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, middle on the 3rd, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, middle on the 3rd, and 1, 2, keep your fingers together, and strum, and 1, 2, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, middle on the 3rd, and 1, 2, 3, one more time, and 1, 2, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3, 4, slide down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now let's do another exercise which is exactly the same thing, except we're going to take our index finger off. What happens when you do this is that part of your middle finger will be touching the 5th string, the second one from the ceiling, right? 1, 2, and it'll be muted. And this will teach you to keep your pinky, your ring finger, and your middle finger all on one fret. Helps a lot of my students when I do this, so let's try this in the same manner as we were trying the full chord with the index finger on. Let's now take it off and concentrate on these three fingers being on the same fret and being connected to each other. Don't let them be all by themselves. Let them have some structure. So let's give it a shot. 3, middle on the 3rd, and 1, 2, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, middle on the 3rd, start sliding, and 1, 2, 3, all fingers on the 3rd fret, and 1, 2, 3 to the 8th fret, and 1, 2, 3 to the 10th fret, and 1, 2, 3, start sliding, and 1, 2, all your fingers on the 3rd fret, and 1, 2, 3, middle on the 8th, and 1, 2, 3, middle on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3, start sliding, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now once you're pretty good at sliding your chords around in that manner, if you know how to strum a little bit, you can make up a progression or use the one that I was giving you and add that strumming. It would maybe sound like this. So that's your G major, how to learn it and how to strengthen it. Remember to take the chord on and off lots of times, do this for a few weeks. Also slide it around. Always quality control what you've done by strumming it to make sure it still sounds like a G. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time I see you.